Hi there, welcome to Jujube DIY and my Christmas series. I'm Sarah, thanks for stopping by. Today I'm creating some Cottagecore Christmas tree DIYs that you're gonna wanna see, so stay tuned. So when I think of cottagecore, I think of slowing down and handmade decorations for all of your Christmas elements. So as crafters, I think that we all kind of do the handmade thing a lot for our Christmas decor. But I wanted to create some fun wood elements in a more neutral theme for my Christmas tree. So I'm taking these wood pieces that I got from the Dollar Tree in the fall time. If you don't have these wood pieces on hand, Amazon did have a selection of the acorns and mushrooms, and you may be able to find some things on Etsy or eBay or other places online. So you'll just have to Google and look it up. The stuff on Amazon was a little more expensive than what you would get at the Dollar Tree, but I think it would still be worth it for these adorable handmade decorations. So starting out with this acorn, I gave it a coat of the apple barrel nutmeg brown as the base coat. And now I'm going in with a thin brush and I'm taking two colors. I'm taking the apple barrel melted chocolate and the apple barrel burnt umber colors. And I'm just creating those like streaks of color. And if you look at a real acorn, you would see that a real acorn has those striations of color. It's not just one solid color. So I wanted to kind of mimic that same look. And it's just kind of dry brushed over the top of those darker colors with the nutmeg brown, just to soften the colors up a little bit. Then for the top of the acorn, I went in with the apple barrel burnt umber. And I'm just going to give that a coat. And then I'm going to go in with the nutmeg brown and just kind of stipple that on the top just to create that illusion of the texture that an acorn has on the top there. Next, I'm going to give it a coat of the glossy Mod Podge. I wanted this to be shiny like a real acorn. Once that was dry, I'm taking my little hand drill here and I am going to use a very small bit to create a little hole in the top there. Next, I'm going to take some of this metallic thread. You can get this, I bought this at Walmart, so it's not like a specialty item that you can't pick up. It comes in gold and silver and maybe other metallic colors, but I just clipped off a bit and tied a knot at the end there. And then I'm going to place that right over my little hole, and using this pokey tool, I am going to poke down the thread into that hole. And then to secure it together, I'm going to use a little bit of super glue. I had originally used hot glue and it left a pretty big glue mark on there, so I decided to go with super glue. Then I took the little apples and I gave it a coat of a red color and went over the top of it with extreme glitter in red. And I know you can't really tell right there, but it has this beautiful sparkle. And then I chose a yellow color to kind of go in the inside. And then with this little mushroom, I did gold on top and king's gold on the bottom. And I'll leave all the colors in my description box down below as to what I used. And then for this little mushroom, I went in with the red and some browns for the base. And then I used a stylus to create those little white dots. And I'll show you how I created those white dots here in just a second. So using a stylus and white paint, I just went in with a little bit of polka dots just to give that cute little mushroom look. So I used the bigger side first and then went and used the smaller size. And this is just a stylus that I picked up from the Dollar Tree. So if you run across these are great for creating little polka dots and other details in your painting. So here's a look at our projects. I love how these turned out. I gave them all a coat of the gloss Mod Podge and gave them all that little hanger. And I think that these are perfect for my little cottagecore tree. Today I'm collaborating with two of my favorite YouTube buddies, Annie from Indiana Jones and Jackie from Crafting in a Mimi's World. They're both so talented and creative and make the most wonderful DIYs. If you've never checked out either one of their channels, definitely go check them out. I'll leave their channels in my description box down below. For our next project, we're going to Mod Podge some tissue paper onto these flat disc ornaments. I picked up a huge package of these a couple of years ago at Michael's. I think it was like, 40 of them maybe, and I'm still working through them. So you can pick up ornaments at the Dollar Tree or wherever, Walmart, they all have these blanks available anymore, so you can craft with them. So I just put on a layer of Mod Podge, and then I had ripped up my tissue paper into smaller pieces. And I'm just going to add Mod Podge, add my tissue paper, and then add more Mod Podge over the top of the tissue paper. You just want to be careful that you don't rip the tissue paper because it is very delicate. So keep in mind that these ornaments are going to be imperfectly perfect. And that's kind of what I think of when I think of cottagecore. I think of handmade, natural, and not perfect. So I think that these ornaments really speak to my idea of cottagecore. And you know, I know that everybody's idea of cottagecore is a little different. If you follow any kind of cottagecore themes, you know, there's definitely a variety of ideas as to what cottagecore is, but to me it's just those natural elements, bringing the outdoors in and creating stuff that's natural and that you would find from outdoors. And really, if you wanted to get super cottagecore on this, you could go outside and find greenery from your trees or yard. That would be beautiful on these ornaments as well. So I don't think I mentioned before, but my tissue paper came from the Dollar Tree, as well as this red berry that came in a package. I got the greenery in a Michael's grab bag. So those probably came from like the summer, springtime lines. And I did decorate each one of these ornaments a little bit differently. I did add a twine hanger to each of them just to bring in that natural and neutral element. So I'll finish decorating up this ornament here, and then I'll show you how I decorated one more using some berries and pine cones, like mini pine cones, that I got from a little bag that they had out around summertime. But I think you can pretty much find these little elements everywhere, like at every craft store right now. So here's a look at these ornaments. I really love how fresh and outdoorsy these feel. I love them. So for our next ornament, we are going to use some of these galvanized cookie cutters that I picked up a few years ago at Walmart and their clearance section. So I think I paid like 10 cents maybe for each one of these ornaments. And I've been hanging on to them because I wasn't sure exactly what I was going to use them for. But I realized when I started making these projects that they would be perfect for my cottagecore tree. So I'm just going to use a little bit of this red and white baker's twine from the Dollar Tree, and then I'm going to thread on one wood bead to the top, and you'll see that here in a minute. I'm just making a knot at the very top to create a hanger for my ornament. Next, I'm going to use a little bit of hot glue to secure the baker's twine and the bead to the cookie cutter. Now to decorate, I'm going to use a little bit of this greenery that I picked up at Hobby Lobby and some of those mini pine cones that came from that Dollar Tree. It was almost like a little grab bag of like Christmas items that they had out I think in the summertime. So if you were able to get a hold of those, that was what I'm using. So I'm just going to add some of these elements to each one of these cookie cutters just to give them that very rustic, very outdoor cottagecore feel. And again, the same with these ornaments. I decorated each one of them a little bit differently so they weren't all the same. And here's a look at our ornaments. I love how natural and neutral these feel, and I just love those outdoor elements on them. If you're new to my channel or coming over from Annie or Jackie's channel, I'm Sarah and I like to do farmhouse and country cottage DIYs on a budget. So if that sounds good to you, I hope that you'll hit that subscribe button down below and join me here on YouTube. If you want to follow me on social media, I'm over on Instagram, and my friend Lisa and I have a Facebook group that anybody can join called Crafty DIYs on a Budget. So I hope to see you over there. For our last cottagecore DIY, I wanted to create an orange garland. So here are the instructions I used. Go ahead and pause it or take a screenshot so you've got those instructions. Once my oranges were dry, I'm ready to create my garland. Taking some jute twine and a large darning needle, I'm going to go in one section of the orange and then back out another section. So just be careful when you're pulling your orange in and out because it is a little bit delicate. The flesh is still a little bit, you know, it's thin and it's easy to tear. So just be careful of that. And also it was a pretty sticky process. So I'm not sure if my oranges weren't dry enough or if it's just naturally going to be sticky no matter how dry they are. But either way, I'm completely thrilled with how these turned out and I love them. So sticky or not, I was happy to create this piece. After I get an orange slice on, I'm going to take 3 beads and I'm going to bead those on. And these beads came from the Dollar Tree. But if you can't find beads at the Dollar Tree, you can always get them off of Amazon. There are a ton of different sizes and places that you can get Amazon or beads from Amazon. So I'm going to continue with that pattern until I get a length that I'm happy with. And this is how it turned out. So here it is hanging on the tree. And I just love how natural and beautiful these oranges look. So here is a look at my little cottagecore themed tree all put together. I love each one of these elements. They kind of feel very vintage, very outdoorsy, very just slow paced and natural to me. And I just love the way this little tree came out. I couldn't be more happy with the decorations and the feel of this tree. So you'll have to let me know in the comments down below, of course, which project was your favorite, which one you might create, and what you think of the cottagecore theme. Do you like it? Do you think that it's weird? Do you find it comforting? I really find it very comforting. It feels like a very vintage, slowed down way of life, and that is something that I strive for in my own personal life. So let me know what you think. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to go check out Annie and Jackie's channel. Again, I'll leave their channels in my description box down below with their videos that they did for today. And I hope that you have a happy, healthy, and blessed day, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!